Intro. 3 connected hooks. What if I told you that you're greatest? Breakthrough could begin in the quietest hour of the night when the world sleeps, but heaven is wide awake. Have you ever wondered why some of the most powerful encounters with God happen in the stillness of 3:30 a.m.? And what if all it took to unlock divine direction, peace, and power were just 4 simple words whispered in the dark? Or something sacred about silence, not the kind you get during a busy afternoon? Break, or when the world finally slows down in the evening. I'm talking about that eerie, holy stillness of the early morning when the clock strikes 3:30 a.m. and even your thoughts seem to whisper. It was in this moment that Billy Graham once confessed something deeply personal. He said, "The Christian life is not a constant high. I have my moments of deep discouragement. I have to go to God in prayer with tears in my eyes and say, 'Oh God, forgive me or help me.'" These aren't the words of a man who had it all figured out. These are the words of someone who walked with God, still faced storms. Because the truth is, everyone, even the spiritual giants among US's valleys, no one is immune to weariness, to doubts, to nights filled with silent cries. But there is a spiritual secret hidden in those hours when everything is quiet and everyone else is asleep. And it's this. Heaven listens closely at 3:30 a.m. Hell trembles in that silence. Angels prepare for dispatch. The throne of grace is wide open, and the Lord is leaning in, waiting for your voice. Have you been feeling dry? It's like your prayers are hitting a ceiling, like your soul is parched and nothing seems to move. Maybe you're under attack. Maybe you're desperate for clarity. Maybe you've just been searching for something more than routine Christianity, something alive, something that breathes and moves and changes you from the inside out. If any of that sounds like you, then this message is not just for you. It's calling to you. There's a spiritual practice, a rhythm that saints and prophets have followed for generations. They rose early, not because it was convenient, but because they knew that something happens when you seek God in the dark. But today, I want to give you something specific for words, spoken at 3:30 a.m. with a heart wide open. Here I am, Lord. That's it, just for words. But those words, they've echoed through centuries. Spoken by Abraham when God called him to trust beyond logic. Whispered by Moses from a burning bush when God gave him a mission. Uttered by young Samuel when God first revealed his voice to him. Declared by Isaiah when he was undone in the presence of glory, and still said, "Here I am, send me." These are not just ancient prayers, they're divine activations, spiritual declarations, words that move the heart of God and shake the agenda of hell. Because when you wake up at 3:30 a.m., when your body wants to sleep and your soul is tempted to ignore the call, and you say, "Here I am, Lord," you are doing something profound. You are surrendering. You're saying, "I'm not the captain of this ship." You're saying, "I choose your will over mine." You're saying, "I'm ready to be used. Speak and I'll obey." It's in that moment that your spirit begins to align with heaven's flow. You begin to hear, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. God begins to download instructions. Peace begins to flood your mind. Confusion starts to lift. Courage begins to rise. You see, the early morning isn't just another time of day. Spiritually speaking, it's a battlefield. Demonic forces often ramp up their activity in the early hours. Attacks intensify. Mental torment increases. Fear tries to creep in. Anxiety whispers lies. But you have a weapon. When you rise and say, "Here I am, Lord," you're not just praying. You're taking authority. You're reminding the enemy that you're not afraid of the dark, that you're a child of the light, that you belong to the Most High God, and you are not to be trifled with. You're reminding yourself that your life isn't random. You have purpose. You're willing. You're available. You're present. And most importantly, you're positioned. Because when heaven finds someone who is positioned and available, something always shifts. So what actually happens when you speak those 4 words in the early morning? Clarity comes, not vague hope, but clear direction. Decisions that once paralyzed you now come with peace. You begin to walk with confidence, not arrogance, but assurance that you're walking in God's will. Peace enters your atmosphere. Your home begins to feel different. The tension that lingered in the air begins to melt. It's as if heaven opens a window and breathes life into every corner of your space. Angels are released. You may not see them, but they move. They carry protection. They open doors. They silence chaos. They guard your family, your dreams, your destiny. Instructions are given, the next step you've been waiting for. It may be whispered during that quiet moment. That business idea, that word of wisdom, that confirmation, it could come when your phone is off, your soul is still, your ears are tuned, your spirit grows stronger, your struggle no longer defines you. The fire in your prayers returns. Start praying not just for survival, but for territory. Not just for protection, but for purpose. But listen carefully, it's not about the words themselves. It's not a magic formula. It's about the heart behind them. It's about saying, God, I value you more than sleep. I want your will more than comfort, ready for something deeper than just routine religion. And when you make that sacrifice, even for just 7 days, something starts to happen. Try it. For 1 week, set your alarm for 3:30 a.m., not to scroll, not to stress, but to get alone with God. Find a quiet place, whisper those 4 words, "Here I am, Lord." And then wait. Listen. Let your heart be still. Let your spirit lean in and watch. Watch. What happens in your relationships, in your emotions, in your thinking? Hey, watch how peace starts showing up in places you once felt panic. Watch how prayers start feeling powerful again. How scripture starts coming alive again. How chains begin to fall not just in your life, but in your home, your marriage, your calling. Because this isn't religion. It's not a performance. It's not something you do to earn points with God. This is relationship. This is presence. This is a divine appointment. It's like walking into a room where the King of Kings is already waiting for you, smiling. Arms open, ready to speak. Ready to heal, ready to fill. Billy Graham knew this. The prophets knew this. And now you know this. Will you say it? Will you rise? Will you answer the quiet call in the middle of the night? For words, "Here I am, Lord." Say them with faith. Say them with surrender. Say them with expectation. And then, stand back and see what heaven will do in your life. If this message stirred something in your heart, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. Live it. Speak it. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss. A word like this, stay faithful, stay available, stay ready.